1930s, Australian farmers were desperate. Their sugarcane fields were under siege by the destructive beetle grubs. In their search for a natural solution, they've turned to an unlikely ally, the cane toads. They've brought in some of this species from Hawaii. They believed these to be the perfect natural predator that would end the plague of beetles once and for all. But what began as a hopeful solution soon turned out to be one of the greatest ecological mistakes in Australia's history. The cane toads are native to South and Central America. They have a huge appetite and will eat almost anything they can fit in their mouths. This helps explain why they grow so large. Not only that, they're also remarkably tough survivors. Even in harsh, dry conditions, they can endure and keep moving. Naturally nomadic, they wander from place to place without a fixed territory. This allows them to spread rapidly wherever they go. These are just some of factors that contributed to the cane toads being considered one of the most aggressive invasive species in the world. To understand why such a species with a bad reputation was introduced in Australia, we'll need to go back in time to when sugarcane were first planted in the region. When the first fleet arrived in Australia, they brought with them the promise of a new crop, the sugarcane. Throughout the early 19th century, settlers made repeated attempts to grow it. They were hoping to turn the land into a sweet and profitable enterprise. Unfortunately, they failed repeatedly. They've got a few successes further north due to the more forgiving climate. However, everything changed when one man turned the dream of a thriving sugar industry into a reality. Captain Lewis Hope, now remembered as the father of Australia's sugar industry, achieved what many before him had failed to do. In 1862, on his property in Queensland, he successfully grew a sugarcane crop that flourished. Building on this success, he constructed a sugar mill just 2 years later, laying the foundation for the industry that would grow to shape much of Australia's agricultural landscape. From that point on, sugarcane cultivation spread rapidly, following the tide of colonization and reaching the far north by the 1880s. But the road to success was anything but smooth. Droughts periodically threatened the crops. This was a natural challenge since Australia has a harsh and unpredictable climate. But the greatest challenge came from beneath the surface. The cane beetle larvae, which are native to the area, fed on the roots and weakened the sugarcane from the ground up. With few staff and limited resources, scientists at the Bureau of Sugar Experiment Stations did their best to tackle the growing beetle problem. They tried many chemical treatments, but none were able to resolve the issue permanently. Then, in 1932, they finally saw some hope. When a plant pathologist from the Bureau attended a conference in Puerto Rico, he learned about the American toad, Bufo marinus. He heard of the reported success in controlling beetle populations in sugarcane fields. This report naturally sparked great interest back home. 3 years later, they would finally act on this supposed natural solution. In 1935, a Bureau entomologist was sent to Hawaii, where the toads had been introduced from Puerto Rico. There, he collected a breeding group and brought them back home. They've built a special enclosure for this supposed natural savior. After a few months, they were able to successfully breed the toads. With optimism running high, 2,400 of them were released into the surrounding countryside. What started as a small introduction soon turned into an uncontrollable invasion. From just thousands, their numbers multiplied into millions. The cane toads spread rapidly across Australia. Their numbers now are estimated to be more than 200 million. They didn't just spread across the land, they wreaked havoc on Australia's native wildlife. Animals like monitor lizards, blue-tongued skinks, water dragons, and king brown snakes have all seen their numbers plummet. Some species are now dangerously close to extinction, all because of this one toxic species. So, why are cane toads so unstoppable? The answer simply lies in their biology. Each adult toad has large poison glands on its shoulders that release a powerful toxin when it feels threatened. If an animal tries to eat the toad, the poison acts fast. It causes heart failure, paralysis, or death within minutes. In its native habitat in South and Central America, local predators have evolved resistance to the toxin. But in Australia, no animal was prepared for it. The result was huge losses for those native predators like snakes and crocodiles, who tried to devour these toads. Experts agree they can no longer be fully contained. Yet amid the chaos, nature began to push back. It was as if evolution itself had stepped in to finally control this relentless invasion. Scientists noticed that in areas long exposed to the toads, fewer crocodiles were dying. Some seemed to be surviving encounters that once meant certain death. It appeared that natural selection was quietly at work. It seems like these predators developed resistance to the toxin. This same strange adaptation was showing up in other species. Populations of black snakes that had been nearly wiped out were returning. Their bodies had somehow adjusted, becoming less sensitive to the toad's deadly poison. And then came one of the most surprising twists of all. The Australian water rat had found a way to cheat death in eating these toads. These clever rodents had learned to turn the toads over and carve out their hearts with surgical precision. Through this, they're able to avoid the poison glands entirely. These glimpses of adaptation sparked a fragile hope that maybe, over time, Australia's native creatures could fight back. But the battle was far from over. The problem wasn't just the adult toads. Even their eggs and tadpoles were toxic enough to kill fish, turtles, and anything foolish enough to swallow them. Adding to the challenges is that it seems like these toads are reproductive machines. One female could lay up to a staggering 40,000 eggs at a time. Just imagine, it would only take 25 females to produce 1 million eggs. Normally, in nature, most of these offspring wouldn't survive, but in Australia, nearly all of them did. This country turned out to be the perfect place for the cane toads to take over. They've got plenty of food, a suitable climate, and almost nothing to stand in their way. And as if their poison wasn't terrifying enough, the toads themselves were evolving. When scientists compared modern cane toads to the first ones brought from Hawaii, they found something alarming. Their legs had grown longer. Over just decades, cane toads had evolved to have legs over 25% longer than before. You might ask, why does this matter? Well, they're covering distances no one thought possible. Experts discovered that some of these toads were capable of moving up to 2 kilometers in a single night. This revealed that their spread across Australia was far more rapid and relentless than anyone had imagined. This makes their invasion an ever-growing challenge to contain. Australians understandably want cane toads gone, but removing them isn't as easy as it seems. Over the years, Australians have become increasingly creative in their fight against the cane toad invasion. One of the most notable efforts is the annual Great Cane Toad Bust. This is a large-scale community event where volunteers gather to capture as many of the invasive species as possible. With millions of cane toads spreading unchecked, removing them individually is simply impossible. That's why researchers are turning to population-level solutions. One promising strategy involves genetic engineering to favor the sex ratio toward males. By ensuring that most offspring are male, the number of females in the population would steadily shrink over time. This imbalance would dramatically reduce the species' ability to reproduce. Another innovative idea scientists are exploring is introducing gene-edited Peter Pan tadpoles. Just like the popular character, these tadpoles will never grow up. The end result is that they're unable to reproduce. Researchers believe this could be achieved by interfering with the hormones or genes that control their transformation. If successful, the species would eventually dwindle, as no new adults would ever emerge. While these advancements are still in their testing stages, Australia's fight with the most troublesome species continues. Only time can tell whether they'll finally succeed. But what are your thoughts about this? We think that you'll love this next video. As always, see you on the next one.